So I want to talk about the why. Your why.
The YXC? What is that? YX is YXZ.
What is that?
YXZ.
It's YMCA. The song. YMCA.
But the last letters of the alphabet.
Oh yeah.
Ay, padre. We lost him.
I want to talk about the why because this morning I was doing my devotional and my personal development, and there was this line that the guy said, "What is your why?" And you always ask me about my why. Always ask me, "What is your why? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that?" But it didn't hit me until this morning. Like it was a wake up call, truly, because he's what he said. And you explained it to me many times. But this morning, I was like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And I've been operating like without a why. And so it has hurt me in many areas. And in certain areas, I operated with a why without knowing. For example, I don't want to end up um, like my dad. Unfortunately, I mean, I have to talk about that because that's my experience. That's what's resonated. What that resonated with me in regards to my why. My dad is a great guy. He's honest, but he has his many flaws. And I look at him now, and he's like almost 80 years old, and he's by himself. Brothers and sisters, some of them passed away, and some of them are not near him where he lived. And he doesn't see his kids. All his kids are far away, like myself, my brothers, and my sister. And so um, it's just something that I never wanted to do, end up like him. You know what I mean? Not that he's a bad guy. Your role model should be your parent because those are the ones you grow up with. But my dad left home when I was little, so I didn't have father figure. He used to come in the summer, and we used to go to his house during the summertime. But he had a restaurant, so he was always busy working. So that impacted my life tremendously to the point to where like now I'm starting to understand through therapy and through your help, and I see the impact. And so I am operating just with a why, but not knowing the real why. Now I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like now I understand a lot, but still. And so this morning I was listening to personal development podcast. The guy said for certain people, the why might be material things. Okay, my why is I'm doing this, I'm working hard, I have a business because I want the next boat, I want the next bigger house, I want the next van, whatever it is. And for me, it's not that. We have accomplished a lot, and then there's more to accomplish and to obtain as far as material things goes. However, for me, it's not a big, it's not that it's not a big deal, but it's not as big for me to motivate me or to go the extra mile. You know what I mean? For me, it's not end up like my dad, and it just hit me like I never thought of it that way until he said it. Like, what has been your biggest why?
I think my why has changed throughout the years and has developed as I grow intellectually, as I grow spiritually, as I grow as a wife, as I grow as a mom, as I grow professionally. But I do have to say that my why has been more around my daughter, being able to provide her. I'm not the type of parent that is like, I'm going to give my child what I didn't have.
Right.
Not necessarily that, but, and not actually in a material way, but I do want for my daughter to not make the same mistakes that I did, That is a huge why for me. She's going to make her mistakes, and that's okay. But I don't want for her to make the same mistakes that I have made. So for me, working the job I work, being the professional I am, it is important for me to be present. It is important for me to teach my daughter a lot of lessons. Like I use life to teach her lessons all the time. And I also have a lot of people that I grew up with that I said, I will not be like that
Right.
person. I don't want to be like them. So the same thing with you. Because of that, I made the effort to go above and beyond to learn to be a good wife, to be a good mom, to be like how to be a good mom, how to be a good wife. Because there is really not a manual, I guess, that teaches you that. But I wanted to learn. So I am not the best mom. I am not the best wife,
You
not
are
the
the best
best,
wife. I gotta say it. I want dinner tonight. Oh, that's right. You don't cook. Um,
but I want to be a good mom. I want to be a good wife, better than what I saw when I was growing up. So that is a huge part of my why. And when I met God, a huge part of my why was that, who I was before, beyond, like, I'm not perfect at all. And I think that is a huge part of that, to understand that my past and every single thing I did, every single mistake I made is actually a part of my message to the world. Everything I did. And when you said what's your why, that's also part of it. I meet so many women that are going through what I went through, like 5, 10, 20 years ago, and they feel stuck the same way that I felt stuck. And I was able to get out of that, to overcome the obstacles. And for me, it's like, you know what? I don't want for these women to feel stuck, because I know how it feels. And I just want to provide them with the tools and with the information, and to just show them the way. And for me to see them get out of that, and be able to feel better and more hopeful, and be able to do better for themselves and even their children if they have any, that for me, like, just fills my heart. So that is a huge part of my why. But when I was listening to you, I know that for you, if you think about it, your why is for you, not so much about the pleasure, but to avoid the pain. And you and I have had this conversation a lot. So people actually take action or make a decision to change something, whether it's a behavior, an addiction, whatever it may be, only because of two reasons. There is only two reasons: to gain pleasure or to avoid pain. And there's a lot of things that come up. I don't know if those are studies or whatever, but I do see that there's a lot of people that actually change something to gain pleasure. But there are more people that change to avoid pain. And sadly enough, they start changing to avoid the pain, not when the pain is far away. Because when the pain is when they can taste the pain, they're like, shoot, I'm like, if I take one more step, if I do one more of these things, or
one more mistake.
if I would make one more mistake, it's over. It's over for me, and I can just taste the pain. That's when they are like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to change, you know? And we can look at many different situations, like, somebody that eats a lot of not healthy foods. They are like, Monday, I'll start Monday the gym, I'll start Monday the diet, whatever. And they go to the doctor, and the doctor is like, hey, you have diabetes, you have that high blood pressure, you have all these things. They're like, but the doctor says, take this pill. And it's like the fast quote unquote solution, which is not. It's more of a
fix, quote unquote.
and it's more of a controlling thing, but it doesn't take away the real pain. And then when maybe they have like the heart attack, or when they have an almost heart attack, when the doctor says, if you don't lose weight, you don't have any more, like you have 6 months to live, that's tasting the pain. And we've seen so many people that when they are tasting that pain is when out of nowhere in 6 months they lost 100 pounds. Like, what? Why couldn't you lose 10 pounds last year or 20 pounds last year? Like, what happened? What happened is the taste of pain was bigger or was stronger than the gain of pleasure.
It became real.
It became real.
So, like for me also, like for those of you guys that don't know, but we are in the insurance business, and even though I've been very successful at it, that's not what I want to do. That is exactly what I don't want to do, and so I usually just go along with it because it's rewarding financially speaking. But there's a point where it's like, I had enough of this because it's not my passion. It's not that I don't like doing what I do, but sometimes I don't. But like production, the music, the videos, the podcast, those are the things that I'm passionate about and I'm moving towards it. So that's another why. I don't want to end up like, okay, I'm the manager of doing my boss's job, or I be a manager or a director. Like, that's not my motive. That's not my motivation. That doesn't
Their goal.
Spark my drive.
Sorry.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not my goal. My goal is something else. So now I have another why. You know what I mean? Because many people have different drives and different motivations and goals and aspirations. But as for me, I want the production world, the videos and the podcasts. And so now that's another why. You were saying like your why changes. I don't want my legacy to be just the insurance guy. Nothing wrong with it, but it's not what I want. You know what I mean? Maybe Joe down the street or my coworkers, yeah, that's what they want to do.
And it's perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. However, some people, they follow, if you don't follow a certain pattern, then they criticize those who don't go along with that pattern, if that makes sense.
No.
No? Okay, so let me explain. So, top salesperson in the insurance industry, if he doesn't catch himself or herself, they might see the people that are not at their level as far as numbers and sales, kind of like, why aren't they have the same skills as I have? They have the same opportunity. Why aren't they doing that? So I've been guilty of it plenty of times. And when I see someone and I just like, they don't follow certain patterns that I'm accustomed to or that I think it's the norm, they're not, I'm going to say, in my standards, they're not my level, or like they should do more or whatever. Then it shouldn't be that way, because I'm learning that everyone has a different set of skills. And just because they're not at my level or somebody else's level, whatever level that is, it could be here. It doesn't mean that they're not good or that they don't have other aspirations. So I'm learning now that when I see people that they're doing something that I may not like, I try to find the good in them. Perfect example. Most of the time when you drive to a traffic light and there's a homeless person asking for money, most people will make the comment or like, why isn't he working? Look at him. He seems perfectly fine. He can go to and get a construction job. You can go and get a job and doing labor work. And so the first impression is that person is not where you are because they don't want to.
Mhm.
And so I'm learning that on the flip side, somebody else might be looking at me and saying, "Hey, you're not at my level." So now it's like I try not to make the comment or say anything negative. What I try to do is find the positive. And you know that for me, that is hard. Not that I am mean. It's just that I grew up in a judgmental,
Environment.
criticizing environment and culture. Because back home, people, we're known for being like paying attention to the little details and
And
things
it's
like that.
normal.
And it's normal for me. You know what I mean? So now I'm trying to reverse that, change that, because everyone has a story. Everyone has a different skill. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like mine. Remember, we were talking about in one episode about the box. Like I so don't like people putting me in a box, but sometimes I'm guilty of putting people in a box.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Now, part of my development is I'm not going to. I'm not going to say anything negative or criticize. I'm going to try to find the positive because everyone, even that homeless person that you might see all dirty at the corner asking for money, even though a high percentage are either on drugs or alcohol or mental health, they have a story. Most likely, they were not always like that.
Mhm.
And you never know who might end up like that, from your family or even yourself.
Yep.
No one knows. So it's very interesting because trying to reverse those patterns is not easy.
Mhm.
Like, thank God for you because you're always on my neck. And sometimes, or most of the time, I'm not happy about it. Truly, I'm not. Um, but it has helped. You know what I'm saying?
Can you repeat that, or can we rewind it and you say it again? 'Cause I
Yeah.
didn't hear that last.
It has helped a lot. Listening to my wife, not because happy wife, happy life, but no, truly, like it does help. Because who better than someone who's right next to you almost 24 hours a day, or at least over 8 hours a day? You can help but to notice the good, the bad, and the ugly.
A lot of ugly.
Yeah. No, the handsome, the handsome part.
Yeah, I can talk a lot about the the wife and husband role in the criticizing, because that's definitely a huge topic right there. Um,
But overall, how that might impact
mhm.
other people. That's the
um,
purpose. We don't want to make it like husband and wife thing.
yeah,
I just threw that as an example.
yeah. I mean, definitely the people that are close to you, and they they're going to see, because we are always going to go out to the world, into even our jobs or whatever, into an event or something, and we're always going to portray the best of us, or even portray something even that we're not. Think about it, when people start dating, like your first date with someone, you don't go like, I would not have gone with this, and you have not shown up like that
Shorts,
with that in our first
Jordans,
date
yeah.
at all. And with my bottle, you know what I mean? It's not how you portray yourself when you are out there in the world. Usually people portray themselves very nice, very neat, very clean, all the good, all the, you know, all that good stuff. But when you have a person that after a while sees you so often and understands that that was never you, it's hard to accept that you're not that, what you want to portray. And I do know, and this is a huge issue for marriages, and even the reason why many marriages actually end up in divorce is because we do need to help each other grow, but that has to come from accepting from ourselves that I am not perfect. I want to grow. I need to grow. And I want somebody that with love is going to tell me the truth. What happens a lot of times, and I hear it again from many of my friends, is um, they tell me things that they are upset with their boyfriends or husbands about, and they don't say it in a loving way. They say it in a very criticizing way. For example, I'm just going to give you an idea. For example, if you come home super um tired from work, and you're like, oh, and you just go to the room and, take off your shoes and kind of like throw them like that, and take off your socks and kind of throw them like that, and put them in a little ball instead of extending it, right? I could do one of two things. I could focus on like, wow, thank you so much for working. I know you're tired. And maybe tomorrow or the day after, whenever I'm doing laundry, tell you, hey, I know you came home tired. I would appreciate that, you just help me with this, just doing like that to your socks, just because it helps me to save a lot of time. Just imagine me doing like that to like unfolding 50 socks or whatever. I don't even know. So, I just would appreciate it, but, thank you so much for working. I thanked you for that. I
Isa,
appreciate it.
is it recording? Sorry, we just want to make sure that it's recording.
Okay. Damn, wait, down.
Yeah, criticizing, unfolding the.
Yeah, I can focus on the criticizing, and I could tell you that nicely, which is the truth, and I'm telling you with love. Or I can tell you, oh, what the heck? Why are you coming home? I know you're tired, but I'm tired too. Don't you think? Blah, blah, blah. Why can't you bleep unfold this freaking sock? Like, what's it? You know what I mean? I am telling you the same thing, but very different. The first one tells you with love, and it gives you, whoever you are, whether you're my husband, you're my boyfriend, my partner, whatever it may be, it gives you the opportunity to be either mean to me and respond like, oh, what the heck, whatever, or respond like, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. You're right. But if I tell you right away with the criticizing and like even kind of raising my voice in a mean way, you have no opportunity basically to respond nice back to me. It really takes a very mature, emotionally mature, and emotionally healed person to understand, hey, I'm not going to take it personal and even not react. But instead, if for any reason I would have said it like that, you can like hold my hands and be like, babe, I understand that you're upset about the socks, but are you upset about something else? What's going on? And kind of calm me down, which that's in an existent world. Well, that's what we're trying, I guess, with this whole thing about everybody being a little bit open about traumas, childhood traumas, how we were raised, changing our behavior, changing our patterns, understanding that what we grew up with was definitely most likely not the correct thing. And I think that our generation has the luxury, and I'm going to call it the luxury, to really be open about it and to talk about it. Because if you think about it, our parents, like the generation of our parents and the generation of our grandparents and so on, you go up the not the ladder, but
Go back.
yeah, the tree, the genealogical tree, that was not a thing. I mean, whatever happened at home, you stay quiet and you can't talk about it. And it's facing the family. And we have to portray that our family's perfect and do not say that, your parents fought, or you don't tell that this happened to you. Like, you do not take it out of this house because we're a perfect family.
Right. You don't air the dirty laundry
Exactly.
to the world. So that is also applicable, again, not to just be in the family topic. However, it is very important because that's the root of all cause, or of all causes, is how you grow up, the things that you experienced when you were a kid, or the things that you went through, whether it was good or bad, it reflects now as an adult, right?
Yes.
So the intention is, let's talk about it. Let's air it out, not to the world, but like either through therapy, if you're married, to your husband, to your family, like that is so important because it could be preventing you from your why being developed. Yes. And from you becoming another statistic when it comes to mental health. Mental health And I remember when I did my therapies, I found out this is who I am. This is truly who I am. So I always thought, why is it that I am so somewhat complacent to a degree?
Mm-hmm.
I like to chill at home. You know what I mean? If I can live in the same house until I die, it's fine, and things like that. And then my therapist told me that's because of your temperament. And she said you have positive things and negative. The key here is to focus on the positive and not reinforce the negatives, which most people see it as a positive. To give you an example, if it was up to me, I stay in the same home, right? You're completely different. Like, let's get the bigger house, which, it's a different story. But I'm like, why? Staying in the same house is not a negative.
Mm-hmm.
Staying in the same job is not a negative, but is it adding to my life? And it doesn't have to be necessarily material things like a house, a car, but the fact that I'm very complacent might be preventing me to develop my why.
Mm-hmm. And not only that,
Because that's my temperament. My temperament is that's who I am. That's how I'm built. It has nothing to do how I how I grew up, how they raised me. It's something that is natural, chemically natural. Look up temperament, the different temperaments. But the key is not to reinforce the things that are preventing you. It's basically knowing what's not positive either. Example, if you have the opportunity to grow, why stay complacent? Why stay in the same spot, the same stage, if that makes sense? So, for me, I look at it, I'm like, wow, I didn't even know. Like, it's true. Now I look back, and every time I try to stay, I see myself getting in that same complacent mode. Boom, like I have to go back to my therapist and say, no, you can stay there. Like, there's more to it. You know what I mean? Like, I have to, continue growing. And we always preach, never stay in the same place, never stay in the same stage, never stay in the same level. Grow, grow, grow. It doesn't matter. Make your dreams come true. Work at it. Like, do whatever you have to do. But it's because I was made aware of the threats. Yeah. So yeah, but you have that phase where like, I got so much to say, boy.
no, when you were saying that not growing may be holding you back from developing your why. And a lot of times, if you think about it, sometimes your why is only about you. And we were created to be in community. We were created to want to be loved and to love other people. And I'm not talking romance. I'm not talking husband, wife necessarily. I'm talking about we really have to love our neighbor. We really have to love our children. We have to love our family. We have to love the people that we know and people that we don't know that we're going to meet tomorrow, for example. And not growing, it's such a disservice to the world because there are so many people that you do need to grow. But the question is, why? Why do you? Why is your why growing? Like why? You know what I mean? And
Not to your own benefit, but because of the benefit.
exactly. So you can say, for example, your why is because you don't want to end up like someone that you may love, but you see that person is like, ooh, I don't want to be like that when I'm 80. I don't want to end up in the same spot. I don't want to be living that lifestyle. So I'm doing this for me so I don't end up like that at 80. But if you realize that your why is way bigger than you at 80, you from now until you hit your 80 years old, because you grow, there's so many people that you're going to be able to impact and that are going to impact you and influence you also in the way. But the fact that you decide not to grow or your why is not big enough, you, as I'm saying, it's a disservice to the world because all these people that you could have helped, that you could have influenced, that you could have impacted are like hopefully somebody else is going to impact them, but you are your unique person. You grew up in a specific and unique environment. You are uniquely needed. You have your own unique talents. You have your own unique, like there is nobody else like you. Not only you, I didn't say it was a good thing.
Like I'm levitating, like I'm like, wow, it's like me. I got all this gift.
Not only physically, but even if we would find somebody that looks very much like you, that person did not have the same experiences growing up. They did not grow up in the same place. They didn't suffer the same things. They don't have the same talent. So everything that you are, everything that each person is, it is specifically to help someone else. Like I'm just gonna say this. You are Latino and you have all these music talents that even if someone that doesn't know about music the way you do, even if they're Latino, they are gonna give someone else like advice in music and they're gonna be like, and you are, you know what I mean? But you have gone through so much with music and you have learned so much with music that you have the authority, not only because you have studied it or you write or you're involved with it, but because you have suffered certain things in music and you have seen some things that you're like, dang it was not supposed to be like this. That because of that, you have the authority to speak onto someone else's life in someone else's problem or situation and be like, hey, don't worry about it. I got you. And that's the reason why you need your why to be bigger than I don't want to be like that when I'm 80. You really have to grow and develop yourself and just be open to the fact that while you're growing, while you're healing, while you're learning, while you're getting out of your shell, while you are, talking to a counselor or a therapist if need be, which there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's highly encouraged. We all need to talk to someone and just speak out everything that pains us. Um, while you're doing all this, there are so many people that are going
Like
to
that word that you say,
impacted.
pains us, hurt us, and it's pain me. Like
It is a word.
pain me. Someone that pains me.
You pain me. So
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're right.
it
You're
makes
right.
sense. Like you cannot just decide to grow because of that image. You are 80. It's not cool enough. I don't want to be that. So I'm gonna grow. It has to be bigger than that.
Right. Yeah, that hit me. True. Like
It hit it.
that's true. Like because it's we don't think about the gifts that we have for other people. Many times we just don't know, that we are a blessing to other people.
But think about it. The gift that you are, the blessing that you are, 9 out of 10 is not the good about you, is the overcoming of your problems.
Yeah.
Is that you were able to champion something and now you're on the other side. That is the blessing for somebody. Not that you're so cool, is that you went through something, you were able to overcome it, and now you're on the other side, and now you can help that person. That is the blessing.
To those people, you can show them the route, and this is what we do. What we do. The majority of people, their pride, our pride. I'm gonna say our pride, our ego, our pain. does not allow us to see it right away.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And because I've gone through many things that other people have told me not to, like they have told me, don't go this route because you're gonna run into or encounter certain challenges, and I still go that route. Like I'm stubborn, or I was stubborn. However, recently I'm paying more attention, or I'm trying to pay more attention to those red flags, to the warning signs that people that have gone through, older people, or just in general, that have gone through certain things, or that they have the ability to see past what's in front of them or in front of me and say, hey, man, you might want to take this route. Like, and if it's a business decision or if it's a anything related to my family, when you and I, we'll talk about that at some point when we're going through our seasons. I had people reaching out to me and people that had gone through similar scenarios in their life, but some others that had not gone through it saw the signs and they're like, you know what? If you go that route, this is how you will end up.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I think about it, even though they did not go through that pain, someone that they know or they have seen gave them an example for that person to give me. And so it's all like what you were saying, like it's your pain, your struggle, whatever you've gone through, the good and the bad and the ugly can be of a blessing to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not just about you. You know what I mean? And your why should be like, okay, I'm going to spread as much as I can of my knowledge, my skills, whatever I have, not for me, not because I'm going to end up, or like in this case, like my father, but it's beyond that. I guess is what you were trying to say. It's beautiful. I think this conversation was awesome. It's awesome. Like it's funny because you were saying things that were like hitting me more, like I'm bruised because of this morning and now, like it really hit me. And it's good because that tells you that there's always an opportunity. Like it's, yeah, to bruise me up now, to grow. Because it's like 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, exactly. So, and we're still, going. So thank you. This is another episode from the American Dreamers Club podcast. I have to say it slow because, I'm still trying to get used to it. All right. Until the next time.
Espérame, está cayendo otra voz.